for me, like I've got my Intercontinental Championship, which is I still think is the most beautiful wrestling belt that's ever been created. But for me, even though you only held that belt for 2 days, I still think of the Mountie as a really key champion from that golden era of wrestling.
It's so funny, Ben, that you're saying that, because in every Comic Con I go, everywhere I go, everybody that comes with pictures, I have the belt. My figurines, I have the belt.
Yeah.
And everybody talks to me about the Intercontinental Championship, that I beat Bret the Hitman Hart, and then Rowdy Roddy Piper with the anti-shock vest that he had on. And I think in those days, looking back, I think the belt meant something. It was like, it meant something, because I only had it for 2 days. But everybody, when I go to Comic Cons, they have pictures of me with the belt, and they all refer to me as the Intercontinental Champion. And I always tell them, I said, I put them back in the place every time. I said, hey guys, I said, because some people come up to me and say, hey Jacques, you were the greatest Intercontinental. I say, hey, listen, I was the greatest for 2 days. I was the shortest lived Intercontinental Champion that ever existed.
I mean, did you know going in? Obviously, you beat Bret. My understanding, and correct me if this is wrong, I believe Bret was in potential discussions around his contract at the time. So you beat Bret for the title. Did you know that you're there literally as to act as a transition between Bret and Roddy?
No, that had nothing to do with his contract. That had something to do with him not wanting to drop it to Piper.
Oh, okay.
And then, so I was the guinea pig there between both of them. Like, just instead of dropping it to Piper, and I'm not, I don't have 100% proof of what I'm saying, but I'm just, I was around it, so I could hear the hearsays and the wheeze and the no's and so I honestly think Bret didn't want to drop the title to Piper, so he'd rather drop it to me. But I got to tell you something about Bret. Bret, he was the greatest guy to work with, but he was the hardest guy to work with. In other words, he never wanted to do favors for people. He even when I won the Intercontinental Championship, he had the announcer announce that he had 104 fever before he started the match. He had 104 fever, and that the doctor recommended that he didn't wrestle that night. So when I went in, I beat him. I beat a sick guy. I beat so I used to despise Bret for that, and then in time I realized that he was smart. Like, he was smart to do that, because I realized after my altercations with Vince and everything else, I'm starting to say that maybe he's the smart one and I'm not, but I always thought being a yes man, always saying yes to Vince, yes, that we'd get to the top. And but now I'm starting to realize that no, sometimes I think that he had the right way of doing it, but as far as working with Bret,
got to protect yourself, I guess, haven't you? Like in this industry.
Well, we had so much trust, for Vince when we got there. We just believed in him, and like he said, us the first meeting we had in New York, I asked him, "What are your plans for us?" He said, "The sky's the limit." And then I found out by 10 other guys that they had the same line told to them too: "The sky's the limit." And then so it wasn't special for us; it was his line that he'd tell everybody. So no, but in a personal life, me and Bret are like this. Like, I always loved the guy. I started wrestling for his dad in 1977 in Stampede Wrestling. Amazing. He was driving the bus. Bret wasn't even a wrestler, and he was putting up the ring, when I was wrestling for his dad. And we always got along really good. He was always so funny in the dressing room, so nice. And he was a nice person, Bret. I up till this day I love him, except for the business side of it being so hard, to get a win over him when we're all working together, anyway. So I think the bottom line is, I personally think that Bret didn't want to drop the belt to Piper, so he passed by me and passed it to Piper. A lot of people feel that the Mountie could have had a longer run. But I had a problem with here's something else that not everybody knows, but the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, the real Royal Canadian Mounted Police, they took an injunction against WWF to ban me from TV.
Wow.
Because I was giving them a bad image. but that's because I was doing my job, and, you know, so that when that happened, the WWF making TV tapings in the States. They were making one TV taping, and then they were sending it around the world with different voiceovers for Canal Plus and for England, for Japan, but it was all the same show they were sending out. So me being banned on TV in Canada, they would have had to do a special show just for me. So that kind of gave me the shot there that really stopped my gimmick from moving on. But that character, I'll tell you, the Mountie with the shock stick was just absolutely amazing. And people that I meet today, they remember me every time. And it's so funny because when I go to Comic Cons, again, I'm referring to that because that's what I do these days. But when I go on Comic Cons, you know, nothing personal with anybody, but I'm not giving a shot to anybody, but a lot of the guys, they come, they're sitting down in sweatsuits, and you know, and they have pictures of them, and then you recognize them. Me, when I go to Comic Cons, I'm dressed with my gear.
You look
I got
fantastic,
my shot stick, and I got my gear on. So when you have tables from different places around in the big Coliseum in different places, you could be a mile away. And you could look at the other end and, hey, look, the Mountie's over there. Yeah. You know, they recognize me because of my hat, my glasses, my stick, and I'm always standing up. I never sit down. When I go to Comic Cons for 3-4 hours, I'm always standing up. And then when someone comes to get a picture with me, I said, you want a funny picture or a straight picture? And they say, oh, funny picture. So then I grab them by the hair, I put my shock stick in front of them, and then I tell them, put your hands up like this, put your hands up like this, and then I go like, you know, and then so I interact with the fans a lot. And I do that for 4 hours. So it's amazing. Like so it's fun. But I still have a lot of fun with my fans.
One day me and you need a photo together. I need a Mountie photo on my wall. Absolutely.
If you don't mind to be shocked, it's okay.
That's fine.